Hello, you. My name's Jonti.
And I'm Brandon, also known as B Squared, and this is This Week in Ink.
Each week we'll be wading through the Inklands to bring you the news and the views on all things Lorcana.
Coming up, we have our regular segments, Main Street Market Watch, and This Week in Ink.
And we'll be discussing the latest topics and taking opinions from the live chat.
Hello, live chat.
Hello, Fireblader, especially, who just won a playmat on the Illumatia stream.
What? Nice.
Thanks to Brendan from Podcana, with a lot of help from the chat on the Disney trivia. Hey, Trey and Stephen. And Ixia as well. Oh, all the cool kids are here, look.
All the cool kids.
What have we got for them this week?
Ursula's Return released this past weekend. That's exciting. The new set is finally here. I feel like it came in a mad rush over, the course of just a couple weeks. And even there were so I went to a draft this weekend, and there were a couple times that I'd open a pack and look at cards and I'd just be like, what the heck does this do? Because I don't even remember it from all the reveals. So Ursula's Return happen. And then also this weekend is going to be the first ever Disney Lorcana challenge in both Atlanta and Lille. So that's super exciting. I'm very excited to be going to that. I'll be going to that one. I know, Jonti, you can't make it. You'll be at home. But I'm really excited about it. And we got details for it. We'll talk about it. We got some tournament details we didn't have previously.
We got some new stuff, and it's going to be exciting. So yeah, we'll take a look at the weekend. Then we'll do Atlanta, and then we've got You Made Me Eat Market Watch as well. Oh, and back by popular demand, we're going to do a pack battle.
Pack battle with the new set.
The first. I'm going to go as far as saying, prove me wrong otherwise. The first documented pack battle of Ursula's Return.
Yeah, I'm glad that we've started doing them, because this past weekend, I think it was last Tuesday for League, when I walked into my store, Trey in the chat and some other locals were like in the middle of pack battles after they watched us do it, and they were like, yeah, this is so fun. And then I think on Saturday they did a couple more also, and so I'm glad other people are trying it out. I love doing it,
especially once you've cracked your box or whatever your opening weekend, and we're all human. We all grab a pack when we wander past one, right? Whenever you're at the LGS, or even if you're in like Walmart you see him, you're like, oh, I'll pick up a pack. It just gets more value out of them, because let's be honest, you're going to open 2 bulk rares and be $7 down.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
If that $7 gets you 15 minutes of entertainment, then it doesn't feel as bad, eh?
Yeah, it's especially exciting when you don't look at what's in the pack either, and you get to just figure out as you play.
See how scuffed up your enchanted is.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I watched Trey open the first chapter booster pack for a pack battle, and he had a legendary Ursula just like sitting in there, and I'm just like, this is so funny. It's it's like a giant uninkable card that you'd be excited
it's like 7-drop
uninkable. Yeah. It was fun.
Great fun. All right. Well, we'll do that in a bit. But first of all, Ursula's Return weekend is here. Or LGS release, at least. It does go into big box stores in a couple of weeks. A lot of big box stores started doing pre-orders today and over the weekend as well. So if you don't have an LGS by you, or you struggle to get hold of, let's be honest, the Quest seems to be the thing this time that seems to be limited out there. So do check out your big box stores, and hopefully be able to find what you're looking for there. But yeah, as far as LGS weekend goes, as went swimmingly. Everyone got what they wanted. Loads of great pulls. How about yourself? Did you end up opening much? I saw your full booster box video. Were they both for you?
Yes, yeah, they were both for me. I don't have the luxury of getting boxes early that I can open at stores, or being hooked up with anyone. I gotta wait like everybody else and get them on that Friday. So basically everything I opened, you guys saw outside of what I opened at the draft. And so I opened 2 boxes and a trove. And I got the Ursula or Illuminator's Quest, but there were no packs in that. And
Mm.
got some pretty good pulls. I'm not gonna lie. I got some pretty okay legendaries and was able to snag an enchanted card. I'm happy to keep the streak running. I've gotten an enchanted, through natural pulls every set, sometimes more than one. So happy to pull one this time and keep that streak running.
Well, I have only ever opened 2 enchanteds out of packs for myself.
Wow, really?
Yeah, one of them was the Beast Relentless from Rise of the Floodborn that was just a random pack. It was, like a month or 2 into the set, and I was like, "Oh, go on, give me a pack," and it was in there. Until yesterday, I had never opened an enchanted in one of my booster boxes from launch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they changed that.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, you got the pretty Ursula. Hold on, I gotta
yeah.
get out my. Yeah.
And go on, you got to show yours now. Ooh,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
we go.
Got my
Right,
Jasmine.
So I'll be honest with you, she wasn't one of my chase ones, but she's very, very pretty, and
Oh yeah, I love her.
They're all nice, right? So, although opening this, it did make me go and have a look at the value of some of them, and part of me did think, oh man, they're really nice sitting on my shelf, but also paying off a credit card would be really nice.
Yeah. Hey,
or
I don't blame.
paying rent for a month or 2 would be really nice.
Yeah, honestly, I've just been lazy this time around. Is the only reason I haven't sold the Jasmine. A lot of, I mean, the art's beautiful, like always.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really, I don't really have like a chase enchanted this go around. I really don't know why, but yeah, I don't blame people at all. During the Rise of the Floodborn, I opened 2 enchanteds back to back and like traded them off the same day just to fund my play set of stuff. And so it definitely, like, I totally understand when people pull an enchanted and they're like, all right, let me get rid of this while it's hot so I can get all my other cards.
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you there, Trey, saying that Rock Star Stitch money. I wouldn't sell my Stitch. He's still sat here in front of me. I would not sell him because I worked really freaking hard for this thing. This was not easily won for me. Like, a lot of my friends seem to kind of coast through these set champs, and I did not. So I'm keeping this as a testament to the fact that I'm not an awful player sometimes. But all the others, yeah, it's basically been random chance or trading and stuff. And part of me now, I'm looking at them and they're lovely, but he's up to like $600 first chat. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know whether I can sit on that kind of cash. I am not financially in the position to sit on that kind of cash. So,
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, the first chapter ones just continue to increase, it feels like, and I feel like they're just going to continue to do that. So yeah, I get it.
Obviously, the more they increase, the less chance you have of finding a buyer easily, and it's a tricky line to play. And I'm trying not to think about it too much, but part of me keeps looking at them and thinking, "Oh, that's a credit card paid off, man.
Yeah,
that's a big deal." So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
That's one of the things I've come to enjoy about TCGs, because I actually have I have a Morph Enchanted that I opened from Into the Inklands that I said I wasn't going to keep any enchanteds from the Inklands because I'm trying to get the enchanteds from the first chapter. And Morph was the first one that I opened, and I looked at the card and I was like, this looks too good for me to let go. So I've sat on it for a while, and it was all the bucket hat always. But now, like, I feel like I've sat on it long enough, like I've appreciated it as much as I'm going to appreciate it. And like, I'd be okay with letting it go now. And then I can put that money towards something else, There's some cards I won't do that with, but some of the enchanteds I do.
You're okay doing. Yeah, that's it. I think stuff that's playable, I'm happy to keep. I have a full play set of set 1, and I don't think I'm ever going to do anything with that, because if I'm getting rid of that, then I'm out of the game, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'm happy to sit on that. But the other ones, I know, people are more than happy to shift them off and use them to fund the game, and I wouldn't necessarily be doing it for that reason. I kind of budget to have an allowance to play this game, and I'm kind of fine with that. But yeah, I don't know. I just see him and think, well, you know what, this could really help out financially, and maybe that's the way to go. So, So even though I'm very happy I opened her and she's very nice, she might not be with me for long, I don't think. But as far as that goes, I did okay pull wise. I didn't get a Diablo. but I got a good mix of everything else. I got a couple of Sisus. I actually ended up with a playset of Yensid once I actually went to
Oh
sat and
wow.
sorted everything out. I'm like, well, I guess I'm building Brood. And I feel like that would be a good fun league deck anyway. So I'm
Absolutely, yeah.
happy to put Brooms together for some league play before I really start to like settle into to the new meta. Has anything from the new meta really sort of jumped out at you? I suppose, like, you know, we have to talk about Ruby Sapphire.
Oh my god. Yeah, I was about to
New
say the
meta.
thing that I see people screaming about constantly is Ruby Sapphire and how oppressive it is. And I hear some talk about Emerald too and how strong the Emerald discard stuff is,
Mhm.
specifically with Bucky and Diablo, I think.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to pull a Diablo. I only pulled one
Uh-huh.
in my normal packs, and then I got very lucky in my draft and opened a draft pack that had a Diablo. And I literally said, I don't even need to see what else is in the pack. I'm
Yeah.
taking this and passing it on.
Too right.
Um,
I mean, I imagine it's pretty great in draft, honestly. Like as far as playability goes.
It was less good than you would think.
Oh, really?
Like
Okay.
there were better performing cards in my deck than there was Diablo. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it was the same Diablo dilemma. It's like when there were no other evasives in play, I knew my
Yeah.
opponent didn't have removal. So when there weren't other evasives in play, sure, I play the Diablo and then
Yeah.
quest with him or whatever, and just continue to draw cards every turn. But
Yeah.
the moment an evasive hit the board, he was just
Yeah.
dead. There was even one game I lost because Trey actually in the chat, he had a tuk tuk, an evasive tuk tuk at
Yeah.
2/3. Then he had like
Kills
a
it and
full
sticks
board of
around.
stuff. Yeah, and it's just like I had to use the medallion weight set or whatever it's called on
Yeah.
my Diablo and challenge the tuk tuk with my Diablo without getting any value out of my Diablo, and then just went to the discard. But
Wow.
there were some games where like I almost drew my entire deck between
Yeah.
medallion weight set and Diablo. So it was about as good as you would expect, I guess.
That's fair. Yeah, yeah. Evasives. I'll be honest with you. We'll talk a little bit more about sealed in a moment, but yeah, evasives seem to be the. Obviously, they're always good in every limited format, but I
Mhm.
feel like they're really strong in this set. Maybe because they're a little bit more prevalent and there is a little less sort of targeted removal. So. But yeah, so we opened everything. We did. So we ran for the first time we ran sealed events this time. That's something new for us for launch of Lorcana. That is obviously we run sealed a lot for other games and what have you. It was the first time we ran sealed for Lorcana, mainly because. I still wanted to offer a starter deck tournament, which I did on the Saturday as part of our regular league. But I've got to the point now where the people who've been with us from the beginning of this game, the sort of people who are buying a few boxes, know what they're looking for, are filling out decks that they've already got. I don't want to make them buy a starter deck. You know, like I don't. The starter decks aren't
Yeah.
for them. Starter decks should be going to new players or more casual players, and also they're not great. I've said this before. As far as starter decks for TCGs go, the Lorcana ones aren't very good, I don't think.
No.
And I don't like the idea of having to say to people, "Hey, new set, brand new set. It's going to be so much fun. Come and play a pretty rubbish version of it for the evening." You know, so we've made the decision to do sealed this time. It worked relatively well. I think sealed at the start of a set is a good idea over, say, draft. Because if you do have people coming along who are just there to kind of value pick, at least with sealed, they just have their 6 packs and it's all theirs,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they can make a deck. As opposed to with draft, sometimes you will get people just taking the stuff they still need, or just taking the stuff that to fill gaps in their collection, and it can throw off the drafting experience a little. So sealed, I think, works really well for that. I personally wasn't a fan of it. I actually played in our Saturday morning sealed because I don't normally work on Saturday mornings, and I didn't really have a very good time. If I'm honest with you, I
Okay.
didn't enjoy the format as much as I do enjoy draft, purely because you are completely beholden to what you open in your packs. My pack one. Both rares were characters that cared about songs being sung. And I ended up also being played, and I
Yeah.
ended up 7 of my rares cared about songs. Now, in all fairness, 2 of them were the small steel aerial, the one that lets you
Okay.
loot on a song, and I pulled a Sonic warrior, whatever she's called, the bigger.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I obviously like played those because it's it's a 3/8, just a good body,
Right.
in draft, that's fine. But like 3 of them, and I also pulled the Singer 7 aerial, and I pulled 2 muses, And so there was like 7 cards that cared about songs being sung, and then I had 2 songs, one of which was the mob song, and one of them
Oh
was,
wow.
Second Star to the Right.
Yeah.
So like obviously if that was a draft and I saw those big singers, I'm like, well, okay, let's maybe take those, and then I'll just draft loads of little songs and try and get value that way.
Mhm.
Or more likely, I'd have probably left the singers alone and just picked a decent
Yeah.
mid-range body, But yeah, the problem with that sealed pool, I just kind of felt like, well, I'm not really able to synergize very well here. Just says sorry for brawling. Twice had ice block into
In
brawl.
sealed? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Game 2,
You
game
can't
3,
escape it.
or game 1, game 3 it was, yeah, ice block. Although I had an ice block. I didn't see a brawl. But ice block was clutch. I mean, even just allowing better trades, it was fine for that. So yeah, a lot of cards, did really well. So the main things I took away from it, where I prefer draft over seal because I like to be able to format the deck a little bit as I go. The big thing I found, mostly with the Friday where I was there as sort of like TO/judge, was that there was so many strength modifiers in the set that people struggle with basic math a lot.
Yeah.
and just the idea that like sometimes there were board states where like they had there was a Sisu on the board, the 3-drop Sisu that cares about your opponent's hand size, and then somebody wanted to brawl Sisu, and they were like, if I brawl, is brawl in my hand when it
Oh
hits
goodness.
Sisu? Like, because that matters, right? That
Yeah,
brings,
yeah.
and there was a lot of that going on, and there was a lot of like strength modification throughout, and then somebody was like, well, no, that would be fine, but I have a Lumiere out, and then you have to add the one on, and then like, well, okay, well, I'll ice block it, and then there was a lot of strength modifying, and that's the first time I've really seen that play out in Lorcana to an extent. Obviously, we've had a lot of strength stuff, but I've always felt that like it was pretty weak. Here it like actually kind of seemed to matter. I've always said it's my least favorite mechanic in the game, but it seemed to be really prevalent. I'm glad that Googly is telling me that my calling was right. Yes, that it's not in hand when hitting Sisu. So I did say that, and I was very confident in the fact that it wasn't in the hand. And then they said, well, where is it then?
Yeah.
I was like, I
don't think we have a real
no
answer.
man's land, I think.
Yeah. I don't know that we have a real answer for that, because it's funny that came up probably a week ago in the rules channel. I don't know if it was that scenario specifically, but something about that came up about a card leaving hand and Sisu going, no, it's not in the bag. Actions don't go in the bag. Actions don't go in the bag.
It's nowhere. We don't have a real. Okay, well, I will always say this. I will bow down to Joe's knowledge, and so I'm happy that he's just confirming I'd said what I said.
Yeah, and it was funny because before we got a real answer, people then started looking at Ransack, because they were, people were looking at the rules to see, if we could figure this out on our own. Yeah. And everyone realized that if the action was still in hand when it had been played, because I think we knew it wasn't like in play, like the action wasn't in play. It's not like a card that, is actually in play. If it was still in hand, then when you play Ransack, you would be able to discard Ransack, and that makes the card like a bit better, than it normally was. Yeah. And so I was having some fun thinking of some different weird stuff that you could do in a scenario like that. Turns out it didn't matter, because it's not in your hand and it's also not in play. It's just kind of in the void for a minute,
floating in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, that was my only real major calls that I had on the Friday. I had more calls on the Saturday when I was trying to play. I'm like, I don't know, I'm going to ask the TO. It's not my job today.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly stuff like that, like strength modification seemed to be the big one of the set. And I wonder whether any of that will sort of trickle into constructed. I feel like it won't, outside of maybe some ice block into like Sisu and Brawl stuff, like in maybe in Ruby. I haven't really had a good look at the new Ruby Sapphire stuff, even though it's very prevalent, but I imagine it's kind of running some combination there. I'll be honest with you,
Yes,
I
yeah.
like a lot of people who are actually at Atlanta just so that I can enjoy the play of Atlanta a bit more. I'm kind of trying to not think about set four much
Mhm.
until the weekend. So but it's getting difficult to do.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I really haven't played much with set 4. I haven't I haven't built any decks. I haven't looked at what other people are testing and what's good right now because I'll be in Atlanta and I'm more or less just trying to focus on that, and I'm still in set 3 brain. But yeah, I did look. There was a tournament in Germany, I think, over the weekend that had I think about 48 players,
Yeah,
and in the top I think 4, there were 3 Ruby Sapphire players in the top 4, I think,
bring it up real quick. I'm
and they
sure
had
it's
a ton of uninkables, and it was the Sisu Ice Block Brawl Ruby Amethyst deck. Um, and it seems to be really good and difficult to get around, primarily because everybody saw Lumiere and Ling and things that can give your characters plus strength,
yeah,
and said, "This is great. Let's play this." And
and it
then
immediately got teched against.
yeah, and immediately Ruby Sapphire played 4 ice blocks. So there are games where they have 2 or 3 ice blocks on board, and they can just ice block
And it
all of
all
your
stacks, right?
3,
Yeah,
yeah, 3 and 4 strength characters, and then drop a Sisu on board, and it's a one-sided board wipe. And
yeah,
it's like now they have a Sisu on board with 3 lore and you don't have any characters on board. It's like and it's hard to get around, and I think people are trying to brew right now. I almost posted a tweet earlier today. I was thinking to myself, okay, how do we get around the ice block Sisu dilemma? And I was like, well, if we can play characters with ward that have 3 strength or more, then we can get around it because then they can't ice block us, and we're not going to
yeah.
get put out by Sisu. There's 0 3 strength ward characters. There's not
Because
0. There's a non-zero amount, but
they would.
it's not very many.
Do you know the reason I know there's not many without even looking is because they would all be teched against Medusa already.
Yeah,
Because it's the exact
exactly.
same problem.
Yeah,
And they're not. So it just shows
yeah,
that they're either not many of them or not good enough.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's a couple, but they're just not good.
Yeah.
And so, this is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be real whiplash if we go from set 3, which was the best meta we've had so far. I don't think
Yeah.
that can even be argued. And
No.
if we just get thrown into a set 4 meta that is just Ruby Sapphire mirrors all day long, and a little bit of Emerald thrown in there.
Yeah. Let's appreciate Atlanta as much as we can because it might be the
Yeah,
last the last hurrah.
exactly. Exactly. I was even saying in a Discord the other day that although I know Ursula's Return is going to be, I mean, it's already out once Atlanta and Leo come around,
Yeah.
and some people wanted to play with new cards at the beginning of this competitive circuit. I'm really happy that set 3 is still getting a almost like a send-off tournament is what it feels like. It's like a one
Yeah, very much
last
so.
good run because I feel like
Yeah.
it deserves it. It was such a good meta and so fun to play in. And I mean, even now, nobody knows what to bring to Atlanta. People might say they know people may know what they're going to bring, but nobody
Mm.
knows what's going to win.
Yeah, and
It could
that's
be almost
how good is
anything.
that? Not only at the end of them, it's past the end of the set of the meta.
Hmm.
We're now. By the time Atlanta comes around, it's a week, 2 weeks. That's pretty impressive that it's still not solved.
Hmm.
Knive there says it's the best meta we'll ever have. I pray I'm wrong. I I feel like it gets better the more cards we get because there's just going to be more options as long as they don't create anything crazy. I'm just looking through some of these. There's a little variation between the few of them. There's one here running one copy of the aerial. I suppose it's a nice
Hmm.
little sort of finisher if you've still got a few ice blocks stuck around and just struggling to get over the law line. This one's running Be Prepared over the other one that we saw is running Scar.
Hmm.
Um, I don't mind the Be Prepared in this. It isn't a particularly character heavy deck towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
You're hoping to land one or two big things after the Be Prepared and win out with dimes or something, really. So,
Yeah.
I
One
don't.
thing that surprised me in some of these lists, and it makes sense, especially now that Sapphire has Scuttle, so they can
Mm.
like dig a little bit harder for their Fishbone Quills.
Mhm.
I think the deck that won was playing 20 Uninkables, which isn't the craziest thing in a Sapphire deck, but still a really high Uninkable amount. And then the second place deck was running 27 Uninkables in their deck.
Where's my tweet? Where's my tweet?
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, how did you get away with this? Like,
That's amazing.
I
Yeah,
don't even know how you do that. It's crazy.
yeah, because they're not. I mean, yeah, it's just Fishbone and then a
Yeah,
little bit more
one jump
filtering
ahead.
that you had before. People running
Yeah,
the 4-drop Grandma Tala. She's doing a similar kind of thing, right? She's letting you
yeah.
like
You
trickle
look
through
at
a few and get rid of one.
yeah. It's like she has developed your brain. Basically, you look
Right.
at the top
Okay.
two and put one at the bottom.
Oh, she's not even put one into the Inkwell, eh?
No, no.
Oh,
There's the How Far I'll Go, which does that. It's a 4-cost song, and that's what that
right,
does. You look at the top
right.
two, pick one to put in hand, and then the other in the inkwell. But yeah, I was surprised to see that count of uninkables.
We're seeing a full set of Brawl there. Do you think that's purely an over correction because of Diablo?
It's hard to tell because listening to a bunch of different set reviews and just hearing the community talk about Brawl, people seem to be a little bit. I wouldn't say divided on the card, but people aren't like all in on this card. Somebody compared it to Smash in one of their set reviews, and I really liked that comparison because they're
Mm,
like, it's not a song, it's inkable, and like sometimes it'll banish stuff and sometimes it won't,
yeah.
basically. But I think once people found the ice block tech, they started
Mm,
realizing, oh wait, this brawl oftentimes trades really high. Like
yeah.
if I only have 2 ice blocks on board, I can get rid of a force. Like I can get rid of a Tinkerbell with a brawl,
Yeah.
if I have 2 ice
Mm,
blocks on board. And so I think people are starting to realize comboed with ice block, the card is actually really good.
yeah.
I think for different reasons than people maybe initially thought. Because I think Diablo is a fine play, right? Like when Diablo comes on board, you don't want Diablo to stick.
No.
But Ruby Sapphire has Ice Block into Sisu for that if they want, or they have Brawl if they need it as well.
Yeah.
And usually by turn 3 or 4, if they had a really good opening, they're ramping up to a Medusa anyway. So depending on
Yeah.
if they're on the player on the draw, they might just be able to Medusa the next turn.
I just hit it after a turn. They get one draw off it. It's similar in a lot of the ways to the Tragic Beast, right? You get 1 or 2 off it before they find the
Mhm.
answer. It's just all
Yeah.
shifted a bit earlier into the game now with Diablo.
Yeah.
I completely agree with the comparison to Smash. I feel like, again, just off the top of my head, really, I haven't put that much thought into it, but I do feel like Brawl is probably better, just
Yeah.
because as the game goes on, Smash hits less and less. But isn't really the case with Brawl. It always hits about as much as it's going to hit. The further the
Mhm.
game goes on, there are still a lot of solid targets for it. I mean, even just looking in the mirror, you've got the Bell, a 2/4,
Yeah.
Haram, a 1/6. Even the aerial has ward, I guess, but a lot of stuff, like people are saying, with the ice block being able to bring stuff down into line with it. There's there's a lot of like big hitters later in the game that don't have that higher strength, whereas there's very few with a smaller willpower that are seeing much play, just because they are a lot squishier to a lot more stuff.
Mhm.
Scott makes an interesting question. This is something I've been thinking about a lot. Is item removal going to be a must-have soon? The forecast that banishes all, even for the higher end. I've said this before and I'll say it again, and I'll be happily proven wrong. That forecast is about as best as you're going to get. It's a forecast, it's inkable, it's singable, and it just kills all of them. And I
Mhm.
still don't think it'll see play. And that's
Yeah.
crazy to me. But
I can see a world where 1 or 2 are teched into decks. It's the world is really that Ruby Sapphire goes crazy
yeah.
with items, and they regularly have multiple high value items in play.
Mhm.
Um, and I can see where maybe 2 or 3 are teched, but it's still so difficult because even in the thing that Sapphire does best is play their items and then banish them with Hiram and draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
So like if that card comes into the meta and starts seeing play, good Sapphire players are going to know that, and they're
Yeah.
not going to let their items stick around for very long. They're going to
Very
play the
good.
popsicle to get to draw, then they're going to play a Hiram on the popsicle, or they're going to use Ice Block maybe 1 or 2 times, and then they're going to banish it. Like, they're not just going to throw all their items down on the board if they don't have to and get rid of them. And then, even after all of that, at the very end of the day, you have Tamatoa that
Yeah.
can just pull whichever item they need back, whether that's
Yeah.
an Ice Block or a Lucky Dime or whatever they're looking for, and just play it again. So, like, it's a temporary solution for a permanent problem. It
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't even know if the item removal in Steel is enough, because, like, even if you play 4 Benjas or something, or 4 Beasts, like, again, they just have so many ways to either manage how many items they have in play or pull important items back. And so,
I had a similar conversation with my local group today regarding Diablo, and they were basically saying, well, Diablo's really great now, but as soon as it becomes too prevalent, people are just going to start taking in answers. People are just going to start playing via the cannons again. People are just going to start playing, a lot more of the low cost removal. And then the counterpoint was, well, if you're just filling your decks with answers to Diablo, your deck isn't very good, because you're having to take out
partly,
good stuff that your deck wants just to deal with this one bogeyman of a card, right? And that's how I kind of feel a little bit about item removal. I feel like Benja is the one that sees play because it's still a fine body if nothing else is going on. But even that only gets you so far. And I do wonder about even having an inkable, singable slot take up spots in your deck is just weakening your overall deck identity and playability.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's the thing that I'm most concerned about looking at this really early meta of set 4, is that Ruby Sapphire is really, really strong. And one of the ways that you can try to combat it is by going like hyper aggro. I mean, it's a very heavy control deck, so you just go as fast as you can and as low as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Problem with that is Diablo, like Emerald Steel decks, are going to eat you alive if you do that. And so then if you try to attack against the Emerald Steel decks, you're having to play a bit more mid range, and you're probably playing Steel, which really isn't what you want to be playing in a heavy Ruby Sapphire meta, because Ruby Sapphire is going to eat all the mid range Steel stuff because you just can't survive late game.
It's just gonna middle you out until the middle of the game, and then just start dropping these huge bombs that you just can't answer.
Yeah, and so I'm eager to see how the meta develops and what people come up with as different powerful decks that I guess people just haven't found yet, or we haven't seen yet. Because I'd love another diverse meta. I'm not asking for one as diverse as set 3, but I really hope we're doing more than just playing 2 decks this whole set.
My big concern is that we go back to a set 2 meta where Ruby Sapphire now sits at the top and everything else fights against each other. For that second place, and that's my very early, woefully pessimistic view, and I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's just the sort of first week jitters, but we'll see. But let's put set 4 out of our minds for a minute, because we're going back in time
to the happy place,
to the happy place of set 3, because the Atlanta challenge, we have a few more details about this. So this is happening next weekend. Do I click here? There we go. Okay. So here we go. We have now a bit more of an official plan. Did we look at the prize wall last week?
Yes.
That was out last week, because we haven't got that in my notes, and I couldn't remember if we talked about that last week. Okay.
I'm pretty sure we did.
So what we've got this week then is a little bit more of a guideline as to what the event looks like. And also the prizing for the tournament itself, not the prize wall stuff that's going to be obtainable through tickets. This is the actual sort of large event, the main stage event. We have the prizing now for that, and I'll be honest with you, it's insane. Like we already knew about the foil, the promo stuff. The stout hearted, the Rapunzels, and the golden Mickey that we still haven't seen. We may not see now until somebody gets handed one. At this point, right? Like, I don't know. But they've also fleshed it out with a lot more product pricing as well. So we'll take a look at it in a moment. So rules, core constructed. That's it. Single rule. Let's go. Everything else is open.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's funny.
they are, of course, following their own rule guidance. But that
It's
just
the
made me
Wild
laugh.
West out here.
That's what I made that made me laugh when I first saw that. Rules, core constructed, stripped to the waist. Let's go. Um,
Get wild.
and then day one is 9 rounds
Mhm.
with Swiss format and 2 game matches. And then day 2 is a cut to the top 64 single elimination, but best of 3. So some stuff is new there. Nailing it down to 9 rounds, I think, is new. Or was that already mentioned on PPG, perhaps?
No, I don't think we learned this until this went live. That was the main thing everyone was wondering about because as of just before we went live, Melee has just over 1,700 people registered for this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 rounds
It's
does
not a
not
lot.
feel like enough.
Yeah.
That's something the community's been pretty adamant about. A lot of people were saying maybe 11 rounds would have been a little bit better, 11 or 12 rounds. And this is obviously a different format. This is 2-game format, and a lot of times, in pretty much past history with this kind of stuff, best of 3 is most people's reference. So I
Yeah.
don't know whether two-game match changes that at all and makes it so that 9 rounds makes it a little bit better. A lot of people in the community have been running like simulations of the tournament to see, primarily to see how many points you need to either get to day 2 or get to like top 128. Because we'll see in the prizes a little bit that'll still get you a promo, I think. And basically, you can't lose more than 4 games if you want to make day 2. There's a chance that you can bubble if you lose 5 games, and then anything past that, you're pretty much not making game 2. But supposedly, a bunch of people might bubble if they, have gone X and 5,
Oh,
or
no.
no, lost 5 games.
Lost 5.
Sorry, it's not X and 5. It's just
Yeah.
lost 5 games total.
I'm trying
So I'm
to
eager to see
see.
how big the bubble is.
Knife, where did you put that little table before, Knife?
It's in. Is it in?
Oh, I got it.
Is it in Chicago or
In
Atlanta?
Chicago, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm going to open that.
Yeah.
Go on, talk to yourselves a minute while I...
There will be, so Scott, will there be coverage of these? There should be, yeah. There should be coverage. I think they've mentioned that it will be on the Disney Lorcana official Twitch page. They have a Twitch, like the official channel. It was what the Lorecast was on. So I'd be looking at that probably for Saturday and Sunday to see it
Okay.
broadcasted. But from what I'm
Oh,
seeing,
look at this data.
yeah, this is a lot of numbers on a
Yeah.
page.
So first of all, Knife, pick better colors. A colorblind person can't make sense of this. I
They're all in
kind of
different
get it.
shades of green.
Yeah, I kind of get it, but this is difficult for me to read. So what we're looking at here is numbers across the top are how many like straight wins you have, like 2 O's, right?
Yeah.
And then numbers down the bottom we have are your 1-1s or your losses?
Yes. Your splits.
1-1s? Okay.
Yeah. Which essentially counts as having a loss, 1 loss.
Yeah.
Each time you split.
Yeah. I suppose it's okay. Without using primaries, you're going to struggle. It's not a problem. Just make the data readable elsewhere. So have a key to one side. That's fine. Just make it in terms of games won. No, I love this kind of data. This is good. This breaks it down nice. And then the big numbers in the graph are then the points you would earn from that. So 1 win and no splits, you would be on 7 points. And if that's all you did for the day, somehow you would not make it into top cut. So what you're looking at here is the beginning of the colors sort of shifting on that 6 wins line there, and that's the sort of points you're going to be expected to sort of get in towards the bottom of the thing. Any higher than that, you're pretty much guaranteed, which shows you there that really, like, you need 6, right, to be sure.
Yeah, to be real safe, you need like 6 sweeps. I think if you do 6 sweeps, you're pretty safe going into day 2. But technically, if you're like 5, 0, and 4 or some version of that,
yeah,
I think there's still a chance that you can make it through. And also to preface, there's estimates in these numbers. We're estimating like draw percentages of
this
the
isn't
field.
hard. Yeah, this isn't hard. This is based on an average of what people should score,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, and so I kind of like, I know it's not the most accurate, but I like thinking of it as how many times can I lose, and essentially, as you can see on the graph, you can have 5 or 6 splits and still like maybe make it. But
Not with
like,
6, I don't think. Looking at this,
oh yeah, sorry, I misread. With 5
splits,
splits, 5
maybe.
splits is kind of your last thing. You can maybe make it in, but if you want to be safe, you really can't lose more than 4 games total
Just,
throughout the
I know
day.
we've said it, but this is Knives Graph, so I'm going to let him say it. These are projections, and just in case that's not enough, here it is again, but in capital letters.
This
Okay,
is not hard data
or data,
or data.
depending on where you're from.
Yeah. Either or.
Ram, Hiram.
Flavorsham.
So yeah, so to be comfortable, if you go 6-0, you're probably fine. We're not saying drawing, are we? What are we saying? Are we saying split? Was that the
Yeah.
official
I think
wording that was
split.
given?
Yeah. Oh, we need to get into this too. I forgot about this. Yeah. So we're not drawing, because technically drawing in 2-game format is not the same as going 1-1. I know that's really difficult to get your head into. It's really difficult for me to transition from. But if you draw in 2-game format, that means you didn't finish a game. Like, you
Yeah.
were in a game and you didn't finish the game. So you're either 1-0, somebody's 1-0, or good Lord, if it took you 45 minutes to not finish one game.
I just want to
I don't
point out at
know.
this point, Knife continues to say, this is an educated guess by a someone intelligent person.
Someone's intelligent.
Someone intelligent person.
and
As
they
if to prove
guessed.
his points. We have the most glorious typo. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
carry on.
So anyway, when you go 1-1, you split the match. Essentially, you didn't draw the match, and this is important because I didn't have a link to it in our notes, but on Melee somewhere they okay, sorry, I'm fumbling over my words. Melee now has implemented 2-game format. You can run 2-game format at your store if you want to, and
Yes.
experiment with it. When they did that, they also revealed some details about the format. Now, technically, these aren't Disney Ravensburger official
No.
rules, from what I understand.
Mhm.
But okay, I'll just leave it at that. They posted something that said that if you intentional draw, you get 0 points. So in
Mhm.
2-game format, every game you win, you get 3 points. And if you win both games in your match, you get a total of 7 points, because you'll get 3 points from game 1, 3 points from game 2, and an extra point for winning the match. So why do you get 0 points with an intentional draw? That would be 1-1, right?
Mhm.
No, that's not right. If you go 1-1, you're splitting. So if you,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know how much you want to go into this, because I kind of disagree with the official line on this a little bit. I say
Yeah.
the official line, the line that was given on the official Discords.
Yeah.
The official lines probably puts a bit too much weight behind it, but yeah, there is. You are allowed to ask once during the game for an intentional draw, in that you both decide to declare the game as a draw. On Melee currently, that would score 0 points. The reason for that is it's basically a technical. It's not because Ravensburger wants to kill IDs. It's not
Yeah.
because of that. It's a technical limitation of Melee software and the 2-game format.
Mhm.
Because by taking an intentional draw, the software doesn't know who to give the. It doesn't give either of the players a bonus of winning the second game, which is a tiebreaker. So it kind of has to differentiate the 2 players just for like means of how the 2-game format works. I believe that's kind of how I'm reading this.
Same.
So that's the problem with it. It's not that it's trying to get rid of IDs. It's more that it's just a limitation of it. And what you're not allowed to do is ask for a player to concede a game. You can ask for an ID once in that you're both drawing. So here we go. Ixia says, instead of ID, can just say, oh, we went 1-1 and split. Yeah, so that is, let's be honest, that's what will happen. That's what's going
Yes.
to happen. But
Regardless of what
officially,
the official ruling
yes,
was, that's
of
what would
course, that's what's
happen.
going to happen. But officially, by asking your opponent to go 1-1, you are then saying one of you needs to take game 2 because one
Mhm.
of you needs to have that slight strength of game. I don't know what they're actually calling that tiebreaker, but the one of you has to have that slight game 2 advantage when it comes
Yeah.
to the strength of schedule. And by doing that, you are asking which of the 2 games would you like to lose? And as far as
Mhm.
I'm concerned, that's asking for a concede. That is saying to the player, you are going to lose a game. I'm going to lose a game, but I need you to lose a game as well. And therefore, I
Yeah.
need you to concede a game, which is not allowed in the current rules. So Joe's going to point out why I'm wrong now. Here we go. Worth bearing in mind that the tournament rules we currently have predate 2-game format. We don't have official rules on intentional splits. Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
But all we do have is you can ask for a draw. You can't
You
ask for a
can't ask for a
concede.
concession.
And
Yeah.
currently, going to melee and declaring a 1-1 when you haven't played 2 games and drew them, in my opinion, cannot be done without
Right.
consciously or subconsciously asking for a concede. So that's
Yeah.
the sort of gray area I'm in at the moment. I completely agree with Ixia. It's what will happen, and that's what it is. But as far as the official line goes, I feel like that it should be different.
Yeah, and I agree with you. When I found out about this ruling and it came up in the official Discord, I asked to be completely clear because I was
Yeah.
like, the official rules say we can't ask an opponent to concede, and splitting the match, like you said, is
Yeah.
basically saying, hey, why don't we go 1-1? I'll
Yeah.
concede a game, and you concede a game is essentially
Yeah,
what
but
you're
there
at.
you go. That's you just
And
have
then you
to
can't,
concede.
yeah, and you can't say that. But
Yeah.
officially, we've been told, like, yes, you can ask your opponent to split the match, and like
Yeah.
that's essentially, it's not draw. Don't click intentional draw on melee, because then both of you are going to get 0 points. But you are allowed to ask your opponent to split the match once, just like you are, asking them to draw. And again, as Googly pointed out, I think there's supposed to be updates to this coming.
Yes,
I don't know
perhaps
if
so.
I don't know if they'll get here before Atlanta.
I mean,
I
they
hope
want
so.
to, but yeah. So Scott
Um,
here says the new thing will be asking someone to concede to go 1-1. Sounds like a hard problem to remove so it doesn't continue to happen. Again, this isn't Ravensburger trying to get rid of
mhm.
IDs.
Yeah.
Ravensburger are happy with IDs being currently a part of the tournament system. It clearly states in the rules you are allowed to ask or offer an ID once.
Mhm.
They don't have a problem with IDs. Some members of the community do. This isn't
Yeah.
Ravensburger trying to stop IDs happening. It is just a weird little thing that needs ironing out, I think, because at the
Yeah.
moment they've put a soft lock on IDs by saying they are,
Mhm.
or Melee has put a soft lock on IDs saying that they are 0 points, and Ravensburger's fix for this currently kind of goes against their rules, in my opinion. But it's just my opinion, and I'm probably wrong. I'm nothing more than a keen idiot.
So this brings up something that I saw all day on the day that this was talked about last week, which is what about my evil opponent that when I ask to split and go, I'll concede game 1, you concede game 1, and then they go, all right, let's play game 2. What then?
I mean,
Which
that's
by the
what
way,
I would
which by the way, I don't think will happen because the way you put it in Melee is like you input each match
do. Yeah,
all at once. It's not like you put in game 1 when game's
and
1
then have to
finished and
carry
then
on
you move on.
playing.
No, like if your opponent does that, then you just go, we
Well,
agreed to a split,
yeah.
and like I don't know. I guess now a judge has to get involved because
Oh,
our
or you just say, well, no, let's just play then.
yeah. I guess at that point
And
he
if
wouldn't
they
have
have a
submitted
problem, then you
anything.
call a judge and you'd be like, oh, I haven't done anything yet. Ask around. We haven't started playing yet. I don't know what he's
Yeah.
talking about. The guy's a madman. Like
Yeah.
you're both going to be just as bad as each other then at that point, right?
No, I guess no, that's a good point though. Like you either are both going to submit your scores and be done with it,
Yeah.
or you're going to start to submit your score and they're going to go, all right, let's play game 2, and you go, okay, well then we'll just play game one because we haven't,
exactly.
we'll just play the whole match. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's a real problem. A lot of
No, I
people
don't
seem to
either.
be very concerned about it. I don't think it's an actual problem.
Scott says, so if Ravensburger ever do feel like IDs become a problem, they can do what Star Wars Unlimited or Flesh and Blood does, I guess. They could. For those of you who don't know, that would their rules say that any draw is put down as a loss. Like any draw,
For both,
intentional or whether you actually only do get through 2 games. And that would mean it was 0 points across the board. If they did that within a 2-game format, I think the Earth would implode from the playback because that would mean you either score 7 points or nothing all day, which just seems insane.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a smart decision.
So I don't think that's the fix. Yeah,
and even if they tried going the route that people thought they were doing with this one, and that by clicking intentional draw you don't get any points, as we mentioned earlier, players are just going to sit across the table and go, do you want to just split the match? Well, we won't intentional draw, we'll play each of our games. Yeah, and you're not going to be able to enforce that or stop that either. So
again, I don't feel like that's the point here.
No,
I feel like it's more of a limitation of Melee's implementation, and maybe we'll see it shift. I don't know. I did want to quickly show this. This is I think this is Pokemon. I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
I'm not sure where this is from, but I think this is Pokemon, and this is their suggestion for cutoffs, basically. So you'll see here that their top cutoff is actually lower for the number of people that are attending. It is just a 32, but they are running 11 rounds of Swiss to get there, which is kind of crazy. I do like the Swiss being all in one day, honestly.
If you can do it, I like that too.
That's the only reason I don't hate the lower rounds of Swiss here, because I like the fact that by the end of the day, whether or not you're getting a lie-in and maybe doing a few fun events, or if you're like, I've got to get to bed, I've got a big day tomorrow, right? I kind of like that, and not have Swiss go over 2 days. Obviously, as soon as you get into like 10, 11 hours, you really need to break it. I mean, even 9 is a
long day. Yeah.
So yeah. Someone told me that Atlanta Challenge isn't given a lunch break. I don't know anything about that.
I don't know any information on that. Yeah,
that sort of level of timings yet, actually. But I don't know. I feel like they probably legally would have to give some kind of break.
You'd think so. God, I hope they do. Otherwise, that's going to be a very long and difficult day.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, Swiss seems 9 rounds of Swiss seems pretty crazy. Seems not many,
and it doesn't. I don't think it increases based on player count either. Like the way that this website just like gives us these rules, it's almost unconditional, because when we scroll down a minute, we'll see how the prizes change based on attendance, but it doesn't matter if there's less than 1,000 or more than 1,000 players. It's 9 rounds all day, and I think the only difference is the top cut changes, or does it change?
The top cut, I'm assuming.
No, I guess it doesn't.
No, because assuming these numbers here are based on the. No, this is just challenge. This isn't Atlanta. This is just challenge.
Yeah, so even with more players, the top cut doesn't change at all. Or for day 2, it doesn't change.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. So here we go then. So in that case, the Swiss performance, roughly 128. I suppose it's going to be whatever 128 scores. Anyone on that same score will get it as well. Is that what we think is implied there?
Yeah, I think that's what we've been told, is that like the because that'll be the Let It Go promo, and they also reference that as like the performance, I think.
Right.
And so it's just, if you have the same amount of points as the number 128th player, all of those people with the same amount of points will also get to Let It Go. So it'll more than likely be more than 128 people. Wow.
Okay. So prize list then, if you're at a plus 124, basically 1025 or more players. Early check-in before gets you the Flotsam and Jetsam. So that's if you get there the night before and take off a load of work, from the door staff. That's a nice thing to do. And if you can, you get given a Flotsam and Jetsam for your troubles.
Yep.
Then for turning up and playing, you get the Dragonfire. I don't know
3
if
rounds.
there are 3. Okay, cool.
Yep.
You're
Have to play 3 rounds.
preempting my questions, Brandon. It's incredible. You're such a pro at this. So that's pretty standard then, is that you have to play 3 rounds. And that is just... One, it gives them plenty of time of a nice full room of people playing. It lets them get all their promo shots. It lets them get all of their PR stuff done. And it helps a little bit with breakers. It gives you 3 good full rounds of data before people start dropping out to affect things like opponent win rate. Obviously it doesn't get rid of all of the issues with that, but it just helps a bit. It helps a little keep that sort of first line of data a little bit neater and a little bit more full. And then Swiss performance, then, which we think is, like I say, 128, and then other scores of 128 get the let it go. The next morning, everyone who gets there gets given a Rapunzel. A Cinderella, Stout-Hearted. The first cut gets the Rapunzel. The top 16 cut gets the Rapunzel playmat and a qualifying for the
National Championship.
It's not really national, is it?
Yeah,
really?
I like Continental.
Continentals is a good word, I think, for that. They're just saying region. So, but regionals, these are regionals.
These are regionals, yeah.
So you get invited to the Continental, which will either be North America or Europe, and then top 8 get a serialized Mickey.
Yeah, with the increased players.
Top 4 then. Oh, so that's really great. That's really great. The top 8 gets the best prize. I didn't realize that. So in a similar way to the Rockstar Stitch, then the top 4 getting the card. Yes, the playmats are nice, but for a lot of people, the card is the thing. And here, the top 8, the Mickey is the thing. That's awesome to see. And then top 4 though get 2 displays of the current set. Now,
that'll be Ursula's Return.
It will be Ursula's Return even for this one. Okay, so that you over preempted. Then that wasn't going to be my question, but
okay.
What I was going to say was, my understanding is that a display is a distro term for box. I think that just means box. It's just a booster box. A lot of people were like, "Oh, what's a display? Like a thing in a frame?" Or no, it's just what they call a booster
just
box.
A booster box. Yeah.
So 2 boxes of the current set and tickets, and then the top 2 get. Is that another 2 boxes then? I suppose.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw this before stream, and I didn't know the answer to that. Does top 2 get 4 booster boxes? Or is everybody just getting 2? I feel like they also get another.
Yeah, usually how these works is you get whatever behind you as well, right? So every 64 get a Cinderella, top 32 get a Rapunzel and a Cinderella, obviously. So it seems like by that logic, yes, top 2 get 4 boxes of each. So basically get given a case. And then prize wall tickets, I don't think we have numbers on those or what or how many tickets equals what or anything yet. And then the winner gets a trophy and a full foil set of current challenge legal set, including the enchanted cards. So are we saying for Atlanta that's Inklands?
Yes, for Atlanta that'll actually be Inklands, a full foil set plus enchanteds.
Current challenge legal set. Do we read that as most current set, meaning Inklands, or does current challenge legal set mean first chapter Floodborn and Inklands?
I think I'm almost certain it was clarified in the Discord that it's just like the current set that has been released.
Yeah, so most current is the word it should have there, not current challenge legal set. Because to me, because the set is the game as well as the individual sets. So current challenge legal set to me is 612 cards currently, but yes, most current challenge legal set would make it just to be Inklands. But there we go. Okay, so 1 of everything in foil plus 1 of each enchanted. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know how much they fluctuated. Probably not too much, but when this information was revealed to us, I did a quick search on how much money like just all the enchanteds were together. I think it was just maybe it was the whole set plus enchanteds. I don't remember now, but one of those 2. It was either all the enchanteds on their own or the full foil set plus enchanteds. or maybe it wasn't foil. Maybe I just did it normal. Anyway, it was around like $2,700
Yeah,
dollars or whatever for the whole set, which is a nice, pretty penny.
I mean, yes, it is. I think it probably pales in comparison to what the Brave
Yes.
Little Tailor is going to be worth.
Yeah, which
But
is
you know
why.
what? If it means you can keep the Brave Little Tailor and sell a
Yeah.
case of cards and the Enchanteds and get $5,000 or whatever,
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that I find pretty funny is like obviously the most sought after like important prize on this entire page is that serialized. They said was golden. It doesn't say
Yeah.
golden on this. It just says serialized. So I hope they haven't changed that. But for the Lorecast, it was a serialized golden Brave Little Tailor Mickey.
Yeah.
But it is kind of funny to see like, oh, you get a case on top of that and a full foil set
Yeah.
of the stuff.
In the same way that as soon as I won my top 8 game in set champs and secured my Stitch, I just went, oh, right, whatever. All right, let's play.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's you get to top 8 in this.
And to be fair, and even top 16, like I don't even
Yeah.
think it's top 8. Obviously, you want the serialized Mickey, but top 16 gets you the invite to Nats, which I think is what Continentals, which I think is what a lot of people are shooting for anyway. At least the really competitive people there to play, and yeah. So I think even top 16 is gonna be fine, and also in tournaments this big, like. Top 8 finishes are almost as good as winning the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's something you can still put on your resume or like in your Twitter bio or whatever, and like your name will be cemented in the Lorcana community at least for a little while. The moment that you hit top 8 in one of these tournaments.
And if you're looking at making a sort of profile around it, yeah, you're absolutely right. If you look at somebody like Zach Bivens, for instance, if you go onto his Twitter, it's got top 4 at this 1K, top 8 at this 5K, so yeah, like that's once you get there, you're like, okay, I was consistently good enough to get right up here. At that point, it may well just be a bad matchup or a bad dice roll, right? Like, you've consistently done well enough over the day to get to the high point. At that point, a good chunk of what's happening is luck or just sort of RNG, I think. Yeah, and then the only difference really, if it's a smaller one for 1024 players and under, so this will be Chicago. If I'm right in thinking that, this will be the numbers for Chicago. Same again. If you turn up, you get a dragon. If you turn up early, you get a flotsam. If you turn up to play, you get a dragonfire. Play 3 rounds. Your Swiss performance, which is going to be top 64 cut this time, is to let it go. That seems crazy. Top 64 for 1,000 people. Oof.
Yeah.
And then 32 gets the Cinderella. So it all just moves up one, basically. Top 16 gets the Rapunzel, and
it's still
qualifying is still there.
So that's something to note. Like, I think it's kind of crazy that whether there's 2,000 people or there's 1,000 people, it's top 16 to qualify for Continentals. Like that's obviously much more difficult in a 2,000 player room than a 1,000 player room.
Yeah. Well, it isn't really, is it? Because you've just got to make top cut, which has been doubled. Oh no, it hasn't. No, the top cut is still 64. Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking because that Swiss performance top 128 is throwing me off.
Yeah,
no, the top cut is still top 64. Yeah, okay. So yeah, no, it is. It's twice as hard then, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same requirements with double the people.
Yeah, and then the Rapunzel mat moves to 8th. Only the top 4 get the serialized Mickey. Top 2 get 2 displays and the current set, and then the winner gets the trophy and the full set, including Enchanted. Ah, wow. Okay. It's a lot. But it's fun. A lot. It's good.
I'm excited. I'm stoked for it.
Just as a reminder then, this weekend coming is Atlanta. A couple of weeks after that is Chicago. We've got a little break then into July for Fort Worth. August is my stomping ground in Toronto. September is Vegas, and then October is Seattle. And over in Europe, this weekend is Lille, and then quite a big jump until July for I can't remember how to pronounce it. I think it's Bochum. August is Bologna, and then September is my old stomping ground of Birmingham. Is where I was when I grew up. Yeah, it's gonna be great. And
Yeah.
maybe more as well. They did say they were maybe
Oh,
looking at doing
yeah.
others, right?
Yeah, I forgot. They did. They definitely did say. I want to go as far as to say they like outright said there will be another one,
Yeah.
but we haven't heard anything more about that. So I don't know if that's still in the works or not.
I
But
mean, I feel like it might be a little late now, but I feel like Europe, June, and October are wide open. You know, like I don't know
yeah,
about North America where you're going to squeeze one in.
yeah, that's my
Um,
thought. North America is packed.
I mean, maybe like end of June could see one.
Yeah,
Uh,
potentially.
but other
That'd be
than
so
that,
short notice.
yeah. Other than that, they're pretty much monthly after the Atlanta, Chicago, which are the closest together. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're pulling it together. I think they're going to be great. I can't wait. There's definitely yeah, there's definitely like elements of them trying to reinvent the wheel with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of the changes I actually quite like. In theory, I don't mind 2 game format. Granted, I
Mhm.
am not the most competitive player and I haven't tried it. But I like what they're trying to do with it. I'll say that.
Same, same. If nothing else, if 2 game format absolutely falls to pieces and ends up being, a big mistake, I really appreciate their willingness to try something new rather than just do something because that's what's always been done. I think taking an initiative on that and willing to take those risks is really, really commendable. So I'm happy with that, and I'm very eager to see what comes of Atlanta because it's going to be ginormous and
Yeah.
um, it'll really put 2 game format to the test. I'm eager to see a bunch of names. I know there's a lot of well-known players in the Lorcana community that are going to be in Atlanta competing. So I'm eager to see, I'll be watching those players specifically because I'm eager to see how they end up performing in a 2 game format, or if
And
something ends
and
up.
also just kind of see how they, because we've seen so much of set 3 within best of 3. It'll be
Mhm.
interesting to see if the decks even have been
Yeah,
sort of tweaked for it as well, and whether we can even tell. I think
right.
that'll be interesting as well. And not only names in the Lorcana format. I know that in the Lorcana scene. Sorry, I know there are sort of big names from TCGs coming, and this being their sort of first
Hmm.
big run at Lorcana as well, which is definitely something I'm going to be watching. I know there's some some Pokemon players, some Yu-Gi-Oh, and some Flesh and Blood players coming over. So that'll
Yeah,
be really interesting to see how they perform. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to be watching all of it, and it'll be great fun, I think.
yeah.
Uh,
I'll go ahead and say I will be in Atlanta. So if you guys see me, come say hi. Oh, I didn't grab them. My stickers came in today. I was gonna show
ah,
off the stickers. I got stickers to hand out. And so come say hi if you see me and want to say hi. I'll be wearing my Stitch bucket hat that you see in all my stuff, so it should be pretty easy to spot me. But I'll be in Atlanta. I plan on being in Chicago and Fort Worth also. So if anybody's going to those, be sure to come say hi if you see me.
and I will be in Atlanta in spirit. Um, the fireworks have just reminded me. Happy Victoria Day to any Canadians watching. I know
Okay.
it's not one you celebrate in America, but
I don't know what that is. Yeah.
it's a holiday here. I'll be honest with you,
I assume that much.
it's actually it's Queen Victoria's birthday, the Victorian
Wow.
monarch. But like it's purely just a weekend for people to get drunk. Like that nobody cares about what it's for at all.
Yeah. I mean, we have a couple of those holidays
Yeah,
here in the
sure.
States, so
It's just it's known as May 24 because it's always near the 24th of May, and you go and buy a 2-4 of beer, which is like a 24 pack of cans.
Yeah,
And that's what you do. You May 24, you go and drink a 2-4.
that's fun.
Yeah, so happy Victoria Day to anyone celebrating the fireworks. It just reminded me. Shall we do a pack battle?
Yeah, yeah, let's get the pack battle out of the way before we move on to the other stuff.
All
I need
right.
to
So
actually.
I'm very untechy today because my good camera is at the store. I was trying to film the Ursula's return thing, but it's really tricky to film. There's a lot going on the board. So Toronto in August, can't wait, Chris. Hope to see you there, buddy. Parents guys to Lorcana in the chat. Awesome content creator. You should check him out. Nice guy as well. Fantastic beard.
I love a good beard. I wish I
Oh
could
man,
grow a beard.
he's absolutely rocking the beard. So, all right,
Okay,
I have sleeves. Should I sleeve up this time? Because I felt bad
that's
that I
so
did.
funny. I don't have sleeves.
Oh, I won't bother then. And
I mean,
I'll tell you why I won't bother as well. Because I bought this pack at the exact same time as a
oh wait, oh no,
as a member of my staff. Like I literally just grabbed one out of the pack that we had on the shelf for sale, and he was like, "Oh, go on, I'll do one as well." So I took the one next to him for him, and he was like, "Go on, let's open them together." And I was like, "Oh, I won't actually." I said, "I'm actually taking this back to open on This Week in Ink." He was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm going to open mine though," and he opened it, and he got a Enchanted Cinderella. So
oh wow.
it'll be trash. So I don't mind not sleeping this.
So, funny story for mine. I put in a pre-order with my LGS. That's part of how I was able to get the Lumineers quest. And well, actually, I put a pre-order way early, just for like one box before they knew their numbers and everything else. And when they knew their numbers, I got a pre-order on everything else and ordered an extra box. And in that pre-order, I also added a singular pack.
Oh wow!
On
Is
top of
this
everything else. Yeah, and this is the singular pack that came from that
Oh,
pre-order. So
gonna be
I have no
good.
idea where this came from or if there's going to be anything good in it.
I'm just gonna see if I can flip my camera around. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
I'll press that button. I wonder if it's actually an option I have on here. Camera control. No. No, I don't think it is. I have to play upside down. Never mind.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
All right, we good to open?
It's open.
Let me move this.
Did you find them harder to open this set?
Oh my gosh, they're impossible.
Oh,
There was in one of my
they're
videos.
so weak.
This was rough. In one of my, I don't even remember which video it was. If it was my booster box or trove video. There was one pack that I just like could not get open. It took me forever to finally actually do anything with it.
Never gets a riffle shuffle them. Okay.
Oh God.
Oh no, they're all.
Oh, now they're all out of.
No, I thought they were going to be half upside down and half not, but it doesn't actually affect it, so that's fine. All right.
I'm just like screaming on the inside, thinking that there's an enchanted in here that I'm just
content
scraping to pieces.
Good quality content. This. I thought it was just me. Yeah, I thought it was getting weak when I opened my first box. I was like, oh, I need some more vitamins.
Okay, I guess we should roll.
Oh, I don't have any dice. You have to roll for me. I'm super unprepared tonight.
Do you want this to be a roll or you want this to be my roll?
This one.
Okay. It's a 5.
I mean, the other one.
I always roll low on this. I told my locals at draft the other day, I was like, I never roll higher than a... Oh, that was a 5, right? Rolling again. I never roll higher than a 7 on these. All right, this one will be yours. That's a 7.
Okay.
See, nothing higher than
they go, so I don't mind it.
Oh, an 11. Okay.
All right, off you go.
I'll go first.
Well, you win then. So, for those you don't know, pack battle, you just open a pack, you mix it up. You can look if you like. I think it's more fun not to.
I think it's more fun not to also.
And then you draw 4. And then pretty much the game goes as normal. You are allowed to mulligan, and you play the game normally. You just have to get to 10 ink. And if you run through your deck, you shuffle your discard back so you can keep playing. There is no mill option in this game. I don't have a lore counter, but I do have a calculator here that I can track my lore on. I do have a lore counter, actually. Oh, man. A company sent me these, and I never did a video on them.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some of those.
All right, I'm going to set myself to 0.
Okay.
All right. Am I keeping my hand?
I mulligan 1.
I'm going to mulligan 2. Oh, man. Okay.
All right.
10 ink. Sorry, 10 lore. Yes, if I said ink.
Yeah. I'm actually going to...
All right. Go ahead.
Read chat. Okay. We're going to start by inking a hidden cove, and we are going to play an Olaf. We had the one.
No, he has the turn 1. It's game over.
Olaf,
I'm going to
trusting companion.
ink a bell.
Okay.
And I'm going to play
Oh.
Ice Block.
Oh no. Not the ice block. I can't
Oh, I didn't
escape it.
draw.
Oh yeah, draw for turn.
That's fine. I couldn't have played it. Go
Okay.
ahead.
We'll draw for turn. Okay. Is this Yeah, I think we just ink the Vitalis Sphere
Mm-hmm.
and we play an Ursula Vanessa.
Oh, you're
Then we're
singing all
gonna
them songs.
quest for one lore.
Off the board, he's on.
And then
Draw.
we'll pass.
All right, I'm going to draw for my turn. Oh wow, I actually get to. I've got multiple plays here. Let's. I'm going to ink a Prince Philip.
Okay.
And play 2 for Gus.
Gus.
Yeah, he's a 2/3. That's it. Go ahead.
Not bad. All right, we're
So
gonna
what's
ready.
left? He's a 1/3.
He's a 1/2. Olaf's a 1/2.
With support.
Yes, with support.
So there's a 1/4.
1/4 with Singer 4.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna ink the Rose Lantern. We got a pretty good one. We're gonna play a Louisa Madrigal.
Oh, yeah. She's great. So she's a 2/4 who's a 4/4 if you've got something else there, right?
Yeah, and I think we're just gonna pass on that one.
Pass?
Yeah, I don't want you to ban it. Well, I guess we could. Well, no, we should.
2/3 on the board.
We should quest with Ursula. We'll quest with Ursula, and then that's all we'll quest with. Because I don't want you to banish Olaf.
That's fine.
And then we'll pass.
I can't believe I made you do that. I'm going to kill Ursula so bad right now.
Just about to play a rush character and obliterate her.
Not quite. Nessus.
Okay.
Goes down there.
Do you have a Sisu?
No. 1 for a Casa Madrigal.
Okay.
2 for a Mickey
good.
Mouse. When
no!
Carrots against Challenger +2.
No, not my Ursula.
I will exert Ice Block to make Ursula a 0/4, and then Gus is going to come smash.
Wow. Yeah, that was pretty good.
A constructed deck going on here.
Yeah, you got it going.
He gets pounded by Louisa now, but it was still good fun. Go ahead.
Okay. And what's Mickey?
He's a 1/3 now. That's it. His ability is on play. So.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, this might change some things. Is nothing's at Casa Madrigal, right?
No, sadly not.
I think I have
a vanilla location.
I have to do this.
Okay.
We're gonna play a Flynn Rider frenemy. Gosh, yeah, and I think how much it's Casa has 6.
Casa has 6.
Yeah. So there's no sense for me doing that, and I don't want you to banish the Louisa. She's gonna keep.
Oh, you need her online.
Yeah, so we're just gonna pass.
Yeah, I think you could literally just keep passing and win.
I know, that's what I'm wondering. You're gonna have to start putting some pressure on.
Oh wow, I have a card I can't play.
Yeah, I only have 3 ink right now, so I'm not feeling confident in what I'm about to do.
Well, what do I do? Do I just ink this so that there's more chance of me playing my next card?
You can always wait until next turn and then ink it.
No, because if I do, because the next turn I'm going to ink as well. Yeah, I suppose I do hold on that. I mean, I guess I'll pay to put both of these at Madrigal.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm going to have to start racing at this point. So I'm going to quest for 2 and say go.
And that puts you at 3 lore?
2.
Okay, 2 lore. At the start of turn, we get 3 lore. So we're going to go up to 5.
I mean, that's just insane.
That's so good. We're going to draw for turn. I don't think I can play that. Yeah, definitely can't play that right now. And I can't ink it either. So, I mean, do I even bother challenging? I'm ahead on lore. You can only gain 3 lore a turn. So yeah, we just pass.
All right. Well, I'll gain 1 for my Casa Madrigal. Ready. Draw a card. Oh, that doesn't do much. Well, I guess I'll ink that then. Training Grounds gets inked.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. For a Aduna.
Okay. What does Iduna do? Oh, she goes to your inkwell when she's
Is a
banished, right?
Dunadoo? Yeah, she's a slightly bigger Grand Martella. She's a 3/3. Then when she's banished, she goes into the inkwell face down and exerted. I mean, I quest for 2. I mean, the game's writ really, but I get to 5. Go ahead.
All right, we're gonna do Flynn's thing at the start of the turn. We'll get 3, go up to 8, and then we're gonna draw for turn.
You just win. You just
I
quest.
I think I just win next turn. I guess I just dinked this Prince Eric because I'm never getting to Prince Eric, and then we just pass. Or no, we just yeah. What am I thinking? Yeah, I'm sorry, I was being slow there. This was the other card I had in hand, by the way.
Oh wow!
I saw it. I saw it in my opening hand, and I sent it back, and then I had the Ursula, the singer, and I was like, "Oh man, if I can get enough characters on board to sing the mob song with Ursula, that would have been great."
Wow.
So I didn't see 3 cards. I didn't see my other rare.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of my rares.
Okay, how do we want to reveal this then? How do we want to see it?
Well, I guess we'll go through the rest of the pack.
I don't think so. Maybe I didn't see my
rare.
I
did. Oh, Prince Philip was a rare, the support guy.
No, I'm missing a rare and a foil.
Okay.
My
foil was Casa Madrigal. So I got 1 rare to look at.
Got a Mulan. Oh, I got a foil Prince Eric and Ursula's Garden.
I got a Mulan. I got a Augustine. And my other rare is Look at This Family, which I actually think I still needed. I think that's one of the random rares I didn't pull.
Actually, I'm kind of glad to get Flynn Rider. I don't think I bought him with my singles order.
Like I don't know what a constructed deck with him looks like, honestly. But I like the idea of him as a card. Although I don't love the fact that you can just sit there with stuff stood up and say, go.
Yeah, it's definitely good in this format, eh?
Yeah. Literally just go, yeah, I'm going to do nothing for 3 turns.
I just did nothing all game and 1 and 2 turns.
Let me see if I can find it on Dreamborn. So as soon as the app hasn't been updated, I've had to get a little bit clever with how I do my need list. Look at This Family was one. Let me bring it over here. I can show you. So this is how I've done my need list this time.
I like that.
I just made a deck called Got Need, and this is what I haven't pulled. So now I can go in here. Where can I edit it? I can edit it. I can get rid of the Diablo because whilst I didn't pull one, I did trade for one today.
Oh, nice.
And I can get rid of. I feel like I got a Jasmine today. Did I get a Jasmine? Maybe. Oh no, I didn't. I put the school works ones in the system. I got to Look at This Family. Still randomly haven't got this uncommon. Isn't that crazy?
I'll find him on Platinum.
Yeah.
Out of all of the product that I opened, there were like 2 or 3 steel commons that I didn't get playsets of.
Steel seems to be the one that's a little weird because I've seen so many people post. I saw somebody post that they got like 28 copies of Triton's Decree.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
I got 8 copies of the that Mickey Mouse that I just had then, the little flag bearer guy.
See, that was one that I was missing.
So I got 8 copies of him in 1 box, and my boss opened a case and got like 1 of them.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that seems super anecdotal, but maybe there's something in like steel being a little off.
I also didn't open 4 Fortispheres. I opened 2, and then I drafted 1 and picked it. So I'm like, I need this. It's a good card.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Maybe that's a thing. I don't know. We have a You Made Me Ink. It's come from you today, so
yes,
bit of an idea as to why it's this week's You Made Me Ink, but maybe you can tell us about it.
Yeah, I think you probably do. This is an interesting You Made Me Ink because I picked it more or less because something really awesome happened that involved me just getting absolutely crushed. I went to, so after the show last week, I went to League on Tuesday, and it was our last set 3 constructed tournament. We just normally do a $5 constructed tournament every other week. And I brought Amber Steel flute songs, and won every single game in the tournament. Except I won all my matches. It was just a 3-round Swiss small tournament. Won all my matches, but lost a single game to a term that I probably haven't coined, but I've said and has caught on in a couple places, to a sleeper child. For anybody that doesn't know what a sleeper child is, you can't go easy on these children, people. Like, sometimes they are way better than you think they are, and will come out of nowhere and just absolutely obliterate you when you think you have game. So I was playing against, I believe it's Trey's daughter who's in the chat. Her name is Catherine. She was playing a Amber Steel list also, but it was like an aggro bodyguard list. And I won game 1. We went into game 2. And so now that I knew what kind of deck she was playing with, I was on the draw. She opened a Lilo, and then I opened like a Robin Hood or a Queen. She opened a Piglet and did not quest the Lilo. And I had the shift Robin Hood and Queen. I don't remember which one I played first, but I had the shift line for both. I think I played Queen first, but I was like, I want to get a little bit greedy. And so I played the Robin Hood after I played the Queen on turn 1. And I was like, I'll get a shift off with these and keep her aggro deck at bay, because it was playing like Blues and things like that. So you get away quickly. And then turn 3, she goes, fire the cannons, Lilo.
Amazing.
And the only other cards in my hand, I had like 2 shift Robin Hoods, shift Queen, a whole new world.
You were
and
just
an
doing
Ariel.
nothing for 2 turns, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it was just because I played bad. Like, I got greedy and said, oh, I can play suboptimally into this. And she absolutely punished me for it and swept me that game, like with
Amazing.
two Lilos and a Piglet. So it was awesome to see, because I love to see when kids are like successful in the game and like have a good thing. And she was so excited that she had beat me. Because there's sort of a thing at my store about like me being the best player in the area. So it's everybody's goal to like try to beat me, or if some, like when we do a tournament, everybody's like, oh no, I'm matched up into Brandon on round 1. And for her to, and she has to be, I don't know how old she is. She can't be older than like 10 or 12. For her to have been the only person in the room that day to have taken a game off of me, she was just so excited. And I was so excited for her. Like, it was awesome. So that's why I picked you fire the cannons for You Made Me Ink, because I was certainly not expecting it when she played it. And the fact she had 2 to completely shut down my whole game plan, I was just like, yeah, you win. And her brother was next to me playing against somebody else, and he was like, wait, she beat you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you let her win. And I was like, no. No, I didn't. She won fair and square.
That's so good. Awesome. I love to see it. Couple of things. One, is Diablo enough for this to see play again?
Maybe. I don't know, because I mean, again, like I mentioned earlier, I haven't been keeping up with set 4 too much yet. All that I know is that Diablo is being played. I don't really know how he's being played or when he's being played. So I know in the beginning of set 4, or even like just as set 4 was being released and people were testing with cards, a lot of people were trying to find shift lines for Diablo. And I think that's been decided that's really bad, which I would agree. You're basically down 3 cards to guarantee 1 card draw at best. But it is a very aggressive line. If you can play a small Diablo on 1, then play like a Bucky or a Blue Fairy on 2, and shift Diablo on 2, because then you can exert the Diablo, and now you'll draw a card next turn, and you also drew a card or discarded a card. Or some people weren't even doing that; they were just straight up shifting the Diablo. But I think people have figured out that's not a great play, because if the Diablo gets removed, you just kind of lose all tempo.
It's all of your Raven eggs in one basket.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
And so
it's leaning too much into it, I think.
So I don't know that an answer like fire the cannons, such an immediate answer like fire the cannons, is necessary, because I can see this if Diablo is being played that early and that
consistently. Well,
aggressively.
it can be played on one, right? Like technically,
Yeah,
and
it can
not that you
technically
would,
be played
but
on turn one.
you're better playing it on two because it can, if you're shifting it, it exerts on two whether you play it on one or two. So, but like technically can come down turn one. And if it's consistently coming down on two and turning sideways, then this is the sort of thing. But I think, yes, I think you're right. I think actually Diablo is probably turning sideways on four more often than not.
Yeah.
Against the decks that just aren't running evasive answers and therefore need the target removal. And in that case, I don't think this sees play. I think instead you are using your suite of removal you're already happy with playing,
Mm-hmm.
and then some of them sort of mid-game stuff that's coming into the set, the things like the Sisu and maybe Brawl. But
Yeah.
yeah. And the other thing I say about this is I genuinely the first time I've ever noticed that Captain Hook is in the background of the art.
Really?
Yeah, I genuinely just saw it and I was like, oh,
Just now realized.
I thought it was like smoke at the back of the cannon. I
I
just thought it
can
was like
kind of see
lots of
that.
smoke. I've never just had a real good, which is insane because it was, God, the amount we talked about this card when it was first shown off.
Yeah,
It was
this
one of
was
like 8 cards we had.
in set 0 metagame. This was like
Coconut
the
meta?
best card in the game. Yeah.
Back in the
Like,
coconut meta?
yeah, back in the coconut meta when we couldn't even build 60 card decks and we're just
Yeah.
playing with the cards that were revealed. This and then the Captain Hook that pulls this back from the discard
The
was
Captain Hook that
unbeatable.
brings it back, this and Coconut Basket were like the best cards in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you could play like Maleficent biding her time into something else, into a Hercules, like
Oh,
the bodyguard, you just won. You just won on the spot.
those were good times, eh? When there was only 50 cards.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Oh
great.
man.
All right, so we're going to finish today with the market watch. Again, we don't dive into these too often and too heavily, only when there's really stuff of note. And as always, this is not financial advice. We just kind of want to bring attention to it. So today, Brandon's picked a couple of the new legendaries to take a look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to start with a card that I really undervalued at first when I looked at it because I thought, oh, this doesn't hit anything. And to be honest, I completely overlooked Ice Block. Like that's really the main thing. But yeah, Sisu has skyrocketed. I'm very glad I did something this set that I didn't do last set. Last set, I tried to play the market by just waiting a couple days after release and seeing if certain cards would come up or come down. And ended up really paying for it because I could have ordered like Robin Hoods when they were a bit cheaper and Ursula Deceiver Evolves when they were cheaper. So this round, I said, I'm going to get all my product. I'm going to open it all on Friday. I'm going to sort it so I can see what I have. I know I'll go to a draft on Saturday. So I'll open what I get there, and then I'm pulling the trigger on whatever else I want and don't have on Saturday, hopefully while prices were low. And even then, I thought the prices were going to be up. So glad I did that because I didn't pull a single Sisu empowering sibling, and I got 4 of them for $15 each.
That's
And
great. I was just looking at this lowest dip here when they were $12.
yeah,
I have no idea what that was. That's crazy.
woke up today and everyone's like, Sisu has doubled, has more than doubled. She's gone up since I looked at her last today when she was sitting closer to 30 or about $30. And I think this is partly due to the tournament we looked at earlier in the stream where 3 of the top decks were Ruby Sapphire and all of them were running Sisu.
Yeah. So which card are they shifted onto then? The one that gets bigger
No.
size, or
no, they're shifting on the 1/1 evasive that banishes a one shrink thing. Yeah.
That pings something off.
Yeah.
Which are also, is a pretty solid card. That's getting rid of Merfolks,
Mhm.
right? Flynn Riders, and
Yeah, also one that
Rams.
I looked over a little bit because I was already skeptical on the 2 strength thing for this Sisu, and when I saw 1 strength, I was like, yeah, it hits the Hirams and Rapunzels and stuff, but like, is that enough? Like those cards have already done their thing. And again, going back to Ice Block, like Ice Block just completely changes all the cards that that card can hit. So yeah, it's seeing a lot of play and seems to be doing well.
I'm glad the deck is doing well. It isn't my deck. It isn't my kind of thing. I don't. It's too controlly for me. I don't like decks that are losing until they start winning. I've never got on
Yeah.
well with that kind of gameplay. It stresses me out too much. I like to come roaring out the gate, and I'm not full aggro. I enjoy more of a sort of like tempo gameplay. But I want to be doing more on turn 1 and 2 than just filtering through my deck and drawing
Popsicle
cards.
pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not proactive enough for me.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's doing well. It's nice that it's something different. I hope it doesn't just become too oppressive. Talking of oppressive, then the other one that we obviously looked at, we talked about it a lot this episode, but that is Diablo, Devoted Herald, the most expensive non-enchanted card in the set.
In the set now, yeah.
Beating both Sisu and I think Ursula is the other one that's kind of up there, but even she's sort of sitting at like 20 something, I think. Maybe we'll have a quick look at all of the legendaries at the moment, but he's way up here. I feel like this is partly hype. I don't know why we haven't got graphs for these until I refresh. Hold on, let's have a look. Yeah, there we go. Oh wow, the cold foils come down massively for some reason. I mean, it's so new that this data looks like a toddler's. This is not a graph that you should be paying any attention to.
No, not really.
But yeah, I mean, like he came out the gate pretty high, really. Like he was $40 up to 50, so he hasn't had a huge increase really. But he's now coming down a little bit already. Actually, 47 after the refreshed 53 there. So yeah, I don't know.
I'm glad that I pulled 2 of these because I probably made the same mistake that I did last set on Diablo, in that I didn't buy 2 of them when I needed to, because I'm surprised at the graph. Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm reading the wrong number. Yeah, when I was looking to buy them, he was around $40, and I just said I didn't want to spend. No, I think they were 45. I didn't want to spend $45 on 2 Diablos that I might not ever touch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know if this card is going to stay hype like this, especially because I'd have to go back and like refresh the page. But I think earlier today when I was looking at expensive Lorcana cards, Beast Tragic Hero is still up there.
Yeah.
Like he has not dropped very much, and he's not as hyped and seeing as much play as he was.
No,
when he was
I
great.
think at this point it's more of a quantity rather than quality thing, and it's just less Floodborn being opened because he's pretty much the only value in the set. So packs aren't getting opened as much, and therefore there isn't an influx in them in the market. I think that's more of the issue with Beast now. But yeah, I don't know. The thing is with Diablo, like I should be all over this card. Like it's the tempoest tempo card there ever's tempoed. Like it's emerald is my favorite color. The art is badass. It's doing what I want to do. It's penalizing the opponent for playing the game. Like it's all about what I'm into. I don't know why it just isn't flying with me. I'm already, if I'm looking for a 3-drop that is financially very expensive, doesn't do anything the turn it's played, and is a huge target for removal, I'll carry on playing my Ursula to see removal.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. And is she inkable? Or she's inkable.
She is inkable. And to be honest with you, gets inked a lot because if it's not turn 3 with a song in my hand, I'm inking her. Maybe this sees more play throughout the game than she does, but I don't know. Us Emerald players have got it rough.
I have to imagine.
The best card
you
ever.
say you have it rough. You guys have like the best cards in the game now at this point. I don't even want to hear it. Yeah, I imagine Diablo is just going to sit in a similar spot of Ursula, and that, it's that 3-drop card, like you said, that doesn't do anything when played, but has to be answered. And if it's not answered, then you pay desperately for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think for that reason, Diablo is probably going to stay expensive, but I don't intend on playing green unless I have to. I'll play Ruby Sapphire before I'll play green.
Oh, there you go. Let's have a look then. Just at the... we'll take a quick look at legendaries in general, then we'll have a quick look at the enchanted as well, just to see where they're sat.
Yeah.
So there we go, 4, 8, 12. That's all of them on the screen. No, there's 14. How is that? Oh, that's the That's the Ursula
Yeah,
version.
mhm.
I'm not too worried about those. Price wise, surprisingly more expensive. Weirdly, I guess that the Ursula's game thing must be really low print, eh?
Oh, yeah. You were
Because I assumed,
surprised they're more expensive?
yes, I thought
Oh,
these would
I'm
be.
not.
Any, well, the only thing I have to compare it to is the rares that are in a starter deck,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
because they are guaranteed. So I can only assume it's because there's just not many of these around. So we'll
I
ignore
wouldn't be
those for a moment.
surprised if they eventually went down, but for now, I'm not surprised that they're
Yeah,
more expensive.
maybe the big box store will make them lower. So there you go. Yeah, Diablo, Sisu, and then Ursula. I do think Ursula is playable. I feel like her value is probably there because she's the main character of the set a little as well, though, to be honest with you. But I am going to try and run two of her in my current Emerald Amethyst build just as a new
Mhm.
top end. Like, I'm currently playing two Yzmas, and I feel like she can replace those and be a little more thematic, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hades is sitting where I expect him to now. Triton is sitting where I expect him to
Mhm.
now. Buy 4 Tritons, you will not regret
I
it.
was about to say, speaking of Tritons, anybody that didn't see, I think you tweeted. Didn't you tweet the deck list?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Jonti tweeted a busted Triton
Busted as in
locations.
broken bad.
Yes, location deck list that we were all memeing him for. And because of karma, in my first box, I opened 2 Tritons and then opened a foil Triton. So
Yeah.
I have 3 ready to go.
And one day you'll come back to me and be like, "Thank you, Jonty, for showing me
Yeah.
the way."
Jonti was on the sauce before anyone else. That is for sure.
I've said it. I've said it before. I will say it again. Triton is a good card that cares about bad cards, and the locations are 2 sets behind all the other cards in the game.
Yeah.
Eventually, there will be 3 or 4 very playable locations, and Triton will be amazing. It might take a while, but unlike Piglet, who's also sitting at like bottom end,
Bucket hat.
he has got an amazing bucket hat, a metal bucket hat.
Yeah.
Unless we get some serious like empty hand benefit cards, which I don't
Mhm.
know what the benefit would have to be hella strong for me to have no cards in my hand.
Yeah.
I never see Piglet being very good. Triton gets better every time they print a good location.
Technically.
Yeah,
They'd have to print good like locations first of all. We didn't
yes,
get it.
but what I'm saying is every time they do, which they must, because they don't want, or they won't want a key part of their game to always be trash. They can't.
Yeah.
So if the next few sets, maybe they're terrible because they're already put in place and they realize that people aren't sort of challenging as much as their internal testing is showing, which I do think is something that's maybe happening with the game. They will dial them up until we start using them, and as soon as we do, I'll be there with my 4 Tritons
Ready to go.
ready to go. Some of the other ones are surprising me a little bit. I'm surprised Cinderella is so low. I don't think she's very good, but I'm just surprised that as a nice big
Yeah.
princess, she's not a little higher.
Yeah,
But
I kind of agree.
I think this is going to be a set similar to Floodborne, where just one or two of the legendaries sit out, and actually most of the value. I think in this set, most of the value is actually in the rare and lowers. To be honest, I mean, even the super
I
rare
agree.
don't impress me too much. I think a lot of the playable stuff in this is like there's some really great uncommons in this set.
Very good. Yeah. And
Yeah,
rares and all that kind of stuff. It very closely mimics Rise of the Floodborn in
yeah.
that way.
I
I
wonder if
think that
that's what we'll get every other set. Maybe.
yeah, maybe because I don't hate that. I do like opening a legendary and being excited about it because maybe there's some value there. And honestly, for a lot of card gamers, like that's how they play the game, right? Like
Yeah,
you open a pack, it has an expensive legendary and a color you don't play, and you trade it off for a bunch
yeah,
of other stuff that you can actually use. So
yeah,
I think that's really good. But I also like that there are strong cards that are easy to get a hold of
yeah.
and shouldn't be too expensive.
I like the fact that low rarities have strong stuff. What I don't love here, it's not a Lorcana problem. There's a ton of unplayable mythics in Magic, which is the same level rarity. But
Hmm.
what I don't like here is that it's almost like we have a 6th rarity in that we have common, uncommon, rare, super rare. legendary, and good legendary.
Yeah, playable legendary.
I don't love that. I feel like if you're opening a legendary, it should be something that is holding some value due to it being playable, and that might help the further the game goes on because more deck archetypes comes
Sure.
forward, and they can make more broken cards because they're just going to be spread across colors and spread across decks, and you can really lean into something, like Mickey Mouse Musketeer Captain. I think is a good example. There is that eventually Musketeers surely must be a playable deck at some point, and at that point a legendary card that just says this is good for Musketeers holds a bit of value because enough people are playing Musketeers. I feel like we've kind of seen that with Yensid this set. Yensid is a really good card in a Broom deck, like really good.
Yeah.
But outside of Brooms, he's unplayable.
Yeah.
But yet he's still currently holding enough value that if you opened one, the pack has been worth opening.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like that's where I want a legendary to be. I want a legendary to cover the cost of the pack.
Yeah, I can see that. I agree. I think I'd be happy with legendaries being at least as much as the pack costs, because I mean, realistically, like you're not pulling a legendary for every pack, right? So
like 4 a box, right? 4 to a few more a box.
So you actually would love your legendaries to be like slightly more than the pack cost to cover the packs that didn't pay for themselves. But of course, this isn't a like you're not meant to make money off of
9 times out of 10 the pack won't cover its cost, and that's fine. What you are doing is just cracking it for it's a lottery, right? It always has been. But when you pull the highest rarity outside of chase rarities, you want to feel good about it. You don't want to open it, see the legendary logo, and go, "Oh, it's a Triton." Like that sucks.
Yeah. I definitely have mixed feelings about it because I don't play Magic or Commander very much, but I do enjoy sometimes watching people play like budget Commander games or like watching people talk about that kind of thing, because Magic has such a ginormous card pool that it seems reasonable that you could like build a deck on a budget, and find a commander, and maybe the deck's not broken, but it works and like it can hold its own. And I hope that's sort of what some of these legendaries end up being. Like you mentioned, the Mickey Musketeer, where like Musketeers may never be viable competitively, but hopefully there's a point in which the Musketeer deck can hold its own. And you can go, oh, I can go buy this legendary Mickey, and maybe it's $10, but it's not going to break the bank. And now you have a deck that you can bring to league and is going to do well. And
I don't expect to see Musketeers, like I don't expect to sit here one week and talk about Musketeers winning a tournament. But I would love to sit here one Monday and be like, I got destroyed by a Musketeer.
Yeah, exactly.
I was not ready for it, man. Like that. That's what I feel the further the game gets in and the more sort of options we have and that people can use their expression in their decks, we're gonna get that. But I can't wait for the day that I can come in and be like, oh my god, I got absolutely destroyed by a Triton location deck at the weekend.
I can't wait for Triton to be you made me ink for the week.
Awesome. All right, well, I think we're gonna leave it there. A little bit of a short show tonight, but you know what they say in the entertainment world. You don't know what they say, but this is something we always used to say when I was performing Magic. Don't have a shit show, have a short show. So if you've got nothing to say, get out of there.
Yeah.
But we covered everything. It was just, it's week release. We've all opened packs. We've all had fun. Next week, we will have loads to talk about.
Yes.
It will be just after Atlanta. And
I'm going to try very hard to... I should be landing early enough to get back home so that I can come make...
Yeah, well, of course.
On Monday. Because I'll be coming back on Monday. And I won't be leaving until in the afternoon. But unless I am just absolutely wrecked over the weekend and completely exhausted and can't make stream, I'm going to try my best to like show up for stream anyway, and we can talk all about Atlanta and how fun it was.
If it's really, really bad, we might do Tuesday for the week, just because I would like to talk about it while it's still fresh. But I also don't want to random passing out halfway through. So. So hopefully we will be going ahead next Monday. We'll have a lot to talk about, I'm sure. Very exciting.
Mhm.
But until then, where can people find you, Brandon? What's your weekend look like? Getting ready for Atlanta and stuff, I guess.
Yeah. Everyone can find me at B Squared 24 on all socials. I'm just getting ready for Atlanta. Our league is doing a starter deck league for the first 4 weeks, and it was fun last set, but sort of like we talked about earlier in the show, after week 2 or week 3, I was just kind of over it. And because we did a draft this past Saturday, I was able to put some of those points towards the league, and I still have a lot to prepare for Atlanta. Like, I need to make a list of all the stuff I need to pack and make sure I have time to go to the store to actually like get it, so I don't forget anything. And still working on a bunch of videos also, so probably just gonna skip league this week. But will be in Atlanta. I'm prepping for Atlanta. Yeah, the bucket hat will triumph. I hope so.
I
If
think it
you're
says
wearing a bucket hat, if
Brandon's
you
going
are,
to be wrecked from his big Atlanta win.
I hope so, dude. I hope so. That would be phenomenal. I'm not going in with any expectations, but I will say a lot of people have mentioned the bucket hats. If you are wearing a bucket hat in Atlanta, come find me. Please come find me. I want a picture with every single bucket hat that's in Atlanta this weekend. It would absolutely make my weekend, but we'll see if the bucket hat prevails or not. I'm very excited for Atlanta, no matter what happens, to be honest with
I
you.
am sure the weekend is going to be a huge win for you. So
Yeah.
we'll be back next week to talk all about it anyway. So until, hold on, I have to press the music button before I start. I'm not going to do a Liam and say, he did it again tonight. I love it when he does it. Until next week, sign up. Every week he presses the button too quick. So I'm going to press the music before I keep talking. There we go. Right.
That was this beginning.